In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the rear motor mount on your Ford 500 located in the back side of the engine closest to the firewall. Grab the hubcap, gently pry that off. Use your 19mm socket and impact gun to loosen and remove the lug nuts. With the lug nuts removed, grab the wheel, pull it off, and set it aside. Now the rear mount that we want to replace is up here through the passenger side wheel well area, and this is it on the back side. So we're going to reach up onto the top side of this mount and remove the three 8mm bolts holding the upper heat shield in place. Now by reaching up through the center of the vehicle underneath, we're going to get to this 8mm here. Go ahead and remove this bolt here. With those bolts removed, let's remove our heat shield. On the bottom portion of this mount, you're going to find an 18mm nut right behind the CV axle here on the passenger side. Loosen and remove that nut. On the front side of the engine, underneath the front motor mount, you're going to loosen and remove this 21mm nut. By doing this here, removing both of these nuts is going to allow us to go ahead and raise up this engine. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to remove this bolt for the upper mount. Using our 15/16 socket, loosen and remove our strut tower bolts. Do the same for the passenger side. And we'll remove the brace. So we found by using a gear wrench on the top nut here is going to be best. Now that you've broken that nut free with the wrench, we can now switch over to a ratchet with a swivel head. And continue to remove the nut. Now on the lower forward side is this small rubber mount right here. Using a 15mm socket, we're going to remove the nut and pull the bolt out. And underneath, we're going to use our jack with a block of wood, and we're going to put that under the oil pan. I'm going to go ahead and jack this up. We're going to slowly start to raise this, lifting the motor up, giving us access to that motor mount. And grab that mount and bring that out through the passenger wheel well here. Let's get to install our mount. we have the mount positioned in place. I'm gonna slowly lower the jack down onto the mount. As we're lowering the motor down to line up with this mount as well and the pins, we also want to pay attention to the mount on the front side of the engine. With the motor all the way down on both mounts, we can go ahead and remove our jack, set that aside, install the nut on the front mount, install the bolt through this mount, install the nut on the rear mount, now this is going to take a little bit to get this down and bottomed out, but once it is, we'll just tighten that down the best we can, make sure it's nice and tight, and then we'll put our heat shield on. All right, we're bottomed out. I'm gonna make sure this is good and tight. Let's go ahead and install the heat shield on top of the motor mount. I'm gonna go ahead and get this other bolt in. All right, let's go ahead and tighten these bolts down. All right. And just continue for the other two if you have to. One of ours is rotted away, so we just have two of our bolts installed. Let's go ahead and slide our cross brace into place. Get our bolts installed. I'm going to put our horizontal bolt in on the front mount here. Get the thread started, and once that's started, we'll now go ahead and install the 4 bolts on the cross brace. Now on our cross brace, we can actually see the original markings where the brace was in, so we'll just slide that into position. Let's go ahead and tighten down our bolts. Just going to torque down our horizontal bolt here to 35 foot-pounds. Torque down the cross brace bolts to 41 foot-pounds. Go ahead, grab your wheel. Get that lined up onto the studs. We'll get all of our lug nuts all started by hand. Once these are all on, we'll snug them down. Using your 19mm socket, go ahead and torque the lug nuts down to 95 foot-pounds. If you're installing a hubcap, watch for the notch. This is where the valve stem is going to go. Line that up first, and then tap on the cap. You're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.